Hello everybody, welcome back to some more Phoenix Wright. We are here trying to get Acro accused of murder here. I think I have an idea of maybe what he did, so let's present some evidence. We'll see if I'm wrong or not. I'm going to present some evidence. So what did Mr. Dingling use to commit the crime of murder against Russell Berry? It had to be the bus, right? What's that? A picture? It is indeed. The problem with what the item that's shown in the picture. I can't read. The bust? It's quite a large bust, and because it is life-size, it is also very, very heavy. Heavy? Heavy enough to guarantee a certain death, especially if it was dropped from a third-story window. Exactly. Ah! You look so serious, Acro. See? This is how Acro was able to kill the Ringmaster. With the force of gravity and Maximilian Galactica's ample bust. Why do you have to say it like that? Order, order! So you're saying the bust fell onto the Ringmaster. A rather simple crime. Even if you were stuck in a wheelchair, it would be incredibly easy to commit. Objection! I mean, he's very strong. He clearly works out his muscles. How could you possibly wheel a wheelchair with something so heavy? It's impossible. Objection! Well, Acro is an acrobat. He should have more than enough upper body strength to carry something like the bust. That's true. He does work out his upper body quite a lot. Mr. Dingling, how do you respond to these charges? Well, Acro's at a loss for words. He should be. He knows that I'm getting close to the truth. Well, Mr. Acro. I didn't finish that. I'd watch what I say if I were you, Mr. Phoenix Wright. What? Your Honor, the physical health of the witness is material to this case. I demand that we get proper testimony from the witness himself. Testimony, you say? From Karma. She's just using this testimony as a ruse to stall for time. Objection! There is absolutely no need for such testimony. Objection! The defense has its version of the matter. The prosecution has the right to respond. The defense's objection is overruled. Why can't he see things from my way every once in a while? Mr. Dingling, I'm sorry, but we need you to testify about your physical condition. If you have any doubts about your ability to testify, we can request expert testimony. The witness will have no problems. However, let's all be respectful towards him. I don't know if he committed murder. Thank you. That woman will sink to any low to win the case. Acro's physical state. I mean, look how muscly he is. I suppose I could have lifted something the size of that bust. I have a strong upper body from working as an acrobat, and only my legs were injured. However, lifting the bust and looking out of the window would have been impossible. There's no way I could have exerted that kind of force on my lower body. That makes it impossible for me to have known the location of the Ringmaster's head. Thus, it would be unrealistic for me to drop the bust on him, don't you think? I have no doubts in regard to this witness's testimony. It was impossible for him to lift the bust and stick himself far enough out to look. Not to mention that he could not have known the location of the Ringmaster's head. A single false step would have led to an even more severe injuries. That's what I was thinking. What is your opinion on the matter, Mr. Wright? I'd still like to proceed with my cross-examination. He's simply stalling. It's shameful, really. Gah, I can't let her get to me. I've got to focus. Cross-examination. Here we go. Alright, here we go. Should I go ahead and press every statement again? I suppose I could have lifted something the size of that bus. Have you ever lifted up the bus before? No, I've never actually lifted it up with my own 2 hands. Not with your 2 hands, no. But I should get to it, don't I? Don't you think? I can't let money outdo me on this. Money? That crazy monkey has lifted Max's bus before? Please continue with your testimony, Mr. Dingling. I feel like I'm saying something dirty when I say his last name. I have a strong upper body from working as an acrobat, and only my legs were injured. So what have you been doing to keep in shape? Well, honestly, I've given up on training. Why do you still have a thing in your room for lifting? I don't have any plans to return to the trapeze or the tightrope. So you've just been like lodging in there for 6 months with no plans to return? Like, do you not have your own apartment? I don't know how this works. You don't say. But no offense, I'm not worried about losing to you in a race or anything. Neither am I, Mr. Phoenix Fight. I wouldn't lose either, Slowpoke. I mean Nick. Whoa. How did this discussion turn to me all of a sudden? I suppose you could say that I'm stronger than the average bear. However, lifting the bus and looking out of the window would have been impossible. And why is that? Because if I were to do that, I'd end up falling out of the window myself. I still haven't gotten much feeling back on my legs yet. So you couldn't have thrown that bus out the window. There's no way I could have exerted that kind of force on my lower body. How long do you think your recovery will take? You have to remember that my nerves were severely damaged. I'm currently undergoing some extremely intensive rehabilitation. But it's still going to take a while before I'm back to 100%. Okay, so you're not, like, unable to walk or whatever. It just takes a lot of great effort to be able to walk. Let me remind you of another very important point. If the witness was carrying the bust, he would not be able to see out below the window. That makes it impossible for me to have known the location of the ringmaster's head. Why do you say it would be impossible? Allow me to explain. You accept that if I was carrying the bust, I couldn't see out below the window. Thus, there is no way that I would know the location of the ringmaster's head. Well, I suppose you've got a point. Hey, Nick. Huh? What if you turn things around? Maybe if you think of it sort of like this. If he knew the location of the ringmaster's head, then he could drop the bust. But, that does make sense. If only I could prove somehow. That Acro knew the location of the ringmaster's head without looking down. I mean, it probably has to do with the snow or something, right? Or the shadow? Or maybe it was the chest that he was carrying? I think I've already explained things sufficiently. Thus it would be unrealistic for me to drop the bust on him, don't you think? If all you had to do was drop it, then it wouldn't have been a problem at all. If all I had to do was drop it, you're right, I could have done that. However, there was no way that I could land a direct hit on the ringmaster's head. So it kind of makes your theory a bit pointless, doesn't it, Mr. Wright? Acro is strong enough to lift up the bust. The main problem is how he could have aimed for the ringmaster's head. I wonder if he used some sort of tool to aim for the ringmaster. Like some string, perhaps? That's the ticket, Nick! Show them what you've got! I have to be careful. I have to find something that fits perfectly with this case. I don't remember us finding any sort of tool. But maybe we overlooked something. Okay, let's go over our evidence one more time. A tool to know where he was. Because there is that. So was the ringmaster actually carrying? Was the ringmaster actually carrying this chest, or was it already placed there before? Because it looks like maybe the snow was already plowed around it. It was the chest. It had to be the chest, right? The victim was hunched over this 20-pound box. It boasts a small but strong lock. Maybe he was trying to open the chest? And so this is the thing. It makes it impossible for me to have known the location of the ringmaster's head. So what if the chest that he was hunched over was already there before the crime even started? What if the ringmaster wasn't even carrying this box? Let's present something.
Objection!
Yeah, there we go. Acro, you didn't really need to lean out the window, did you? What are you driving at, Mr. Wright? You already knew ahead of time where the ringmaster's head was going to be. Quite precisely, I may add.
Objection!
Your silly hinting at things is pointless, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Enough stalling. How about you show us some evidence? She's getting angry. I know I'm getting to her. But I did such a good job hinting. Yes. Hurry up and explain things, Mr. Wright. Maybe you should take a look at this. Yeah, there's no tracks of the snow. The key point here is the wooden box. The same wooden box that the victim was hunched over? The same. The question is, who placed the wooden box there? Who? Are you an owl now? When Ben and company saw the ringmaster, they didn't see him holding the box. Which means that this wooden box was already placed at the scene of the crime. I have to admit that your theory makes a lot of sense. When the moment that the bust came falling down was exactly the same moment that the ringmaster lifted this wooden box. Lifted? Which means that the answer to all these questions is now crystal clear. Did I channel a little bit of Von Karma's accent just now? Which means that the answer to all these questions is now crystal clear. You mean, if the bus were to fall upon the point marked out by the wooden box, there would be no way that it could miss the head of the victim. No! You didn't think of this, Miss Von Karma? Order! This is unbelievable! Finally, some of these loose ends are starting to tie themselves up. Now I just gotta keep going, and there's only one way to go from here. Forward. So the next question I have is, who placed that wooden box at the scene? It was Mr. Dingling, of course. He connected it to a rope, and then all he had to do was lower it down. Ow! Allow me to whip some... Mr. Phoenix... Ow! I can't read it. The ringmaster's head could have been anywhere when he lifted the box. That's why the box was so specially made. Specially made? Indeed. It had the most peculiar feature. The size of the box, the weight of the box, the contents of the box. Because all that was found inside, right, was a bottle of pepper. The weight of the box, like, because all the iron on it made it so heavy. If there's only like one tiny bottle of pepper inside, why is the box so heavy? The box had a remarkable weight. Weight? According to the court record, it weighs 20 pounds. Just to lift up this wooden box would have required... Oh, I see. One would have had to squat down, then lift it up with their body, wouldn't you say? That's exactly what I was trying to point out. The box is also very large. The box also has carrying handles on either side, doesn't it? That is correct. To lift up the box, you'd have to squat down. Which means that no matter who you are, your head would be in approximately the same place. Fool! Oh, we're getting to the bottom of this. He just doesn't care. You know, because eventually the perpetrator is going to admit it, like, at the stand. Does he even bother to listen to me anymore? I've heard what you've had to say. Huh? I must admit, I'm shocked at your imaginative skills. You did do it? Did you do it? Did you place the one box in the plaza? Mr. Wright may have a vivid imagination, but I could never have done what he's proposing. What? Mr. Wright, do you recall the original location of Max's bust? I do remember. Of course, I remember. It was on top of the table in the cafeteria. Then what happened to it? I'd like you to remember one important fact, Mr. Wright. I could not possibly leave the lodging house by myself. Ah, that means... You do understand what I mean, don't you? I may very well have been able to drop the bus from my room. However, how would I have gotten the bus from the cafeteria to my room? Maybe it was inside of the box. You see, Mr. Phoenix Wright, explain that. Don't forget, you said there was no accomplice. Ah! I did say that. I did continue from that, didn't I? Tell us exactly how the witness would have carried the bust from the cafeteria. Yep, we definitely have a problem here. But this is no place to get perplexed. I've got to get my wits about me and prove how things happened once and for all. Alright, Mr. Wright, let's hear your explanation. How did the witness get the bus from the cafeteria back to his room? I mean, it had to be Regina, right? It wasn't Money. Could Money lift the box? Was it shiny enough? A monkey who takes care of Acro habitually gathers all sorts of shiny objects. So my thinking is that maybe Money the monkey was able to pick up the box. I mean, because it looks pretty shiny, doesn't it? It does look pretty dang shiny. If Money was able to lift the bus, then it had to be Money, right? Yeah. A monkey? Everyone knows Money. He loves shiny objects of any size. Oh, like when he stole the ventriloquist ring. So, are you saying the witness had a monkey steal the bust? Of course he didn't order the monkey to steal it. The monkey stole it on his own and then brought it back home. Home? Money lives in Acro's room. Acro's room?
Objection!
But the bust was bronze, wasn't it? Bronze isn't all that shiny.
Objection!
Maybe you should put the whip down sometime and read the court record. My, those are some very nice cards he's holding. Yeah, those do look rather shiny, don't they? Yes, and they are made of platinum, which is very shiny. Cool! Acro! Money is a strong monkey, right? It'd be easy for him to bring the bus back to your room. If he wasn't able to handle that himself, I'd be on the market for a new roommate. Order, order! I said order, Miss Von Karma. Where is the bus in question at this moment? I don't know. We are searching for it as we speak. This is a rather strange turn of events. But let's say that the monkey had not stolen the bust. What would have happened then? Well, in that event, something else would have been used as the murder weapon. Wait! Then you mean this bust was the murder weapon purely by accident? It's possible. Maybe Acro saw Money's mountain of stolen goods and thought to use one of them. Anyways, I think we've more than proven one critical fact. Namely, that it was entirely possible that Acro was the murderer. moron. I mean, the thing is, we're a defense lawyer. Our job is to defend our client to prove that they're not the murderer. So when in the hell did we start accusing and proving someone else of being the murderer? Like, that's not our job description. We're literally a defense attorney. Whatever. Mr. Wright's argument was so circular, I'm still a bit dizzy. However, his argument does hold water. There's no denying that. Ow! Don't seem so flamboozled, especially by his fraud of an attorney. Fraud? You've forgotten the absolute most important thing, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Motive. And what is that? You should know. You forgot that your fraud of a magical client was spotted at the scene of the crime. No, it was the bust that they saw. Ah! There is no reason to doubt this clown's testimony. That's true. How do you respond to that, Mr. Wright? Nick, don't let her beat you now. I won't. This is my chance to turn this trial around. When the matter occurred, there were two people at the scene of the crime. One was the victim, Russell Barry, and the other was the murderer himself. Answer this and only this, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Who was the murderer the clown saw? I mean, it was still the bust, right? Are we presenting a person? Yeah, maybe it wasn't a premeditated murder. Maybe it was just an accident. Maybe Russell Barry accidentally murdered himself. Who knows? Who was the murderer the clown saw? I still think that, you know, what they saw was the actual bust. This is still what I'm going with. He saw Max's butt. I asked who was the other person Mo saw on the scene. That evidence has nothing to do with the question.
Objection!
It does, though. Au contraire, mon frère. Is that even French? I can't speak French. It does indeed have something to do with the question. Eventually, Acro is just gonna be like, okay, fine, I admit it. Like, eventually, he's just gonna tell the truth. Eventually, Mo said that he saw Max's silhouette, but he did not actually see the man himself. It wasn't a human being he saw. I've been saying this for like, 5 episodes now. How is that possible? It's simple, really. What Mo actually saw that night was Max's bust.
Objection!
What are you talking about? Have you tried using your brain at all in this case? The silhouette he saw was wearing a cloak.
Objection!
It could be any cloak. There's no reason why you couldn't attach a cloak to the bust. It would be easy to hang one of those on the cards on the bust's hands. Idiot! Who in their right mind would put a cloak on a bust? It doesn't matter who put it on the bust. Just wait a minute now, Mr. Wright. Who put the cloak on the bust? That question is of the utmost importance to this case. Don't you agree? Oh, he caught me. So let's have it, Mr. Wright. Who put the cloak on the bust? Oh boy. Who was it? I mean, it had to be Acro, right? Unless it was Russell. Unless it was Max. Unless it was Ben. Okay, so what I'm thinking, because if this was Max's actual coat, like, he put the coat on the rack, and then Russell was like, I'm gonna head out, bro. So maybe it was Russell who put it on the bust for some reason. I don't know. Who put the cloak on the bust? If it wasn't Russell, then maybe it was Acro. But how can we prove that it was Acro at the same time? I feel like it's not correct, but I'm gonna try. Fool! Him? You are saying it was the victim himself, Russell Barry? That's what I'm saying. The victim himself placed the cloak on the bust? Place the cloak isn't really the right way of putting it. Then what would be the right way of putting it, Mr. Wright? Explain yourself! Nick, do you really have a handle on all this? I'm fine, Maya. I'm finally putting all the pieces together. There's really only one picture that I can paint anyways. Alright, so you want to know what really happened that night? Let's step back in time. Acro used a rope to lower the wooden box onto the scene. Then he attached that rope to the bust and dangled the bust out of his bedroom window directly above the wooden box. At the same time, the ringmaster told Max to wait in his room and went to the scene. Of course, at the time, the ringmaster was wearing Max's costume, but why? It's never properly explained, but whatever. Perhaps he didn't want anyone to recognize him that night. That's a good point. But just as he feared, he was spotted at the entrance of the lodging house by none other than a ventriloquist and his puppet, Ben and Trillo. When the ringmaster arrived at the scene, he bent over to lift the wooden box. Oh, here we go. We're getting some new pictures. And that's when Acro took his chance and released the rope. Now this is when the magic happens. At the very instant that the bust hit the victim. Ow. Makes sense to me. You wait just a second, Mr. Phoenix Fight. As much as you try, as much as you scheme, this just isn't true. It can't be. It's still a little early to be getting so upset, Miss Von Karma. The circus isn't over yet. What? And it landed on the bust. This is what I've been saying. The impact of the bust on the victim threw the cloak up, which snagged onto the bust. That impact also caused the sound a certain witness heard, prompting him to take a look. That witness was, of course, Lawrence Moe Curls, the clown. When Moe looked out his window, the cloak had already snagged onto the bust. Now, having completed the crime, Acro naturally went about pulling up the murder weapon. Of course, he had no idea that Moe saw the bust being raised with the cloak dangling on it. Primarily because, in his wheelchair, he couldn't see out of his window. So he just kept pulling the bust up. Whee! It just flew away. Wasn't lying. And that is how the magical murderer disappearing into the sky came to be. Wow. Everyone's like, this makes no sense. So you see, the only person who could have pulled this off is the one person who was able to drop the murder weapon from above the crime scene. Acro, it could only have been you. He's still super just chill. It's like, I don't mind going back to jail. We gotta bring the pepper into this somehow. We're not done. It's not gonna be that simple. Acro's been playing mind games with all of us. He sure has. But he has to come to the end of this rope now. So? What now? You've graced us with a rather long-winded tale. But do you have any evidence to prove that your fairy tale is true? Evidence? In this court, only two things matter. The power of evidence and the power of my whip. Ooh, that sounds like a threat. Don't forget the power of my gavel as well. It's the Triforce. Mr. Wright, the prosecution brings up a good point. Can we see some evidence? Nick, they say they want evidence. I just explained how there can only be one possible murder method. But there is still something unusual about Moe's eyewitness account. Unusual? A contradiction, actually. Okay then, use that and get out of this jam. That's enough talking amongst yourselves. Proceed, Mr. Wright. Present some evidence. to the court that backs up your claims. I want hard proof that you have unraveled the trick to this magic case. Hard proof. Maybe it's this note. We haven't used this photo yet, have we? We haven't used the photo. Are we even going to use the photo? I mean, it's gotta be this note, right? I have conclusive evidence of what took place. Because I have 3 pieces of evidence that I could potentially link to this, but maybe I'll start with what I think is the strongest evidence and go from there. Because there's a picture of the crime scene showing that there's no other footprints or signs of anyone else being present there. But also, because this is a photo of the crime scene, where is the hat? If the hat got knocked off, but the hat was still on the bust, because the hat is still part of the bust, then where did the hat come from? I feel there's like multiple things that I could use here, so maybe I should just start presenting some of these and see what happens. I'll start with this one. It's probably not going to lead to anything. This is probably my weakest evidence. Or maybe it's the right one. Try again. Nope. Okay. If they had been silent for 2 more seconds, I would have screamed. Why is that bird just poking Phoenix in the face? Nick, they say they want evidence. I just explained how there can only be one possible murder method. But there is still something unusual about Mo's eyewitness account. Unusual? Contradiction, actually. Okay, then use that and get out of this jam. Present some evidence to the court that backs your claims. Hard proof. The problem is Max's 3 symbols. Well, there we go. I knew it had something to do with the hat. You know, the silk hat, the cloak, and the white roses. Those symbols were a problem numerous times in yesterday's proceedings. Yesterday, there were 2 contradictions in Mo's testimony. The silk hat was one, the white roses was the other. But the theory I just presented explains all of these contradictions. You fool! Do you ever shut up? Max's silk hat was found at the scene of the crime. However, remember what Mo said yesterday? He testified that the criminal he saw fleeing the scene was wearing a silk hat. There's only one explanation for that. The silk hat that Mo saw was actually the bus. That's what I was thinking. Makes sense. If you look at it that way, then he did see the silk hat. Well, sort of.
Objection!
In silhouette form. Fine, you've got one, but what about the other contradiction? The other contradiction? Remember what that ventriloquist said in court? He said that he witnessed white roses on Max's chest that night. But the clown's testimony doesn't match. The clown said that there were no white roses. I'd like you to see you try and explain that one away. Can you do it, Nick? Of course, I can explain all of it. What was that? Please recall the instant when the cloak snagged onto the bust. If the cloak snagged onto the bust, what happened to the white roses? They were facing the bust, I assume. We saw the back of the cloak. Yeah, they went underneath. Do you get it yet? If the cloak got snagged onto the front of the bust, it means that the white roses would end up on the back of the bust. Ah! Which explains why Mo didn't see them. The white roses were not visible because they were on the back side of the bust. Well, there we go. Order! Order! I hope I'm not being too loud. It is 1:23 in the morning. This is quite the shocking state of affairs. Mr. Wright's theory still sounds a bit absurd to me. However, let's just keep going down this road for a while and see where it leads. Let's do this, Nick. Then maybe Von Karma will finally throw in the towel. He doesn't seem to care. I mean, we gotta bring up the pepper and stuff, right? I still think that the reason that the head chomped onto Bat's head was because there was pepper on the scarf that Bat was wearing that made the lion sneeze while Bat's head was inside of the lion's mouth. That's still my theory. And that is part of Acro's motivation to commit this murder. Well, so much for that theory. Mr. Wright, do you mind? What is it? You took the time to research our circus, didn't you? Well, yes, I did. Is there something making you think that I didn't? If you did, then maybe you'll understand why I think you're off track. Why is that? Motive. We're getting to the motive now, aren't we? This witness feels an incredible debt of gratitude towards the ringmaster. Anyone with any relation to the circus is well aware of this. Thus, there is absolutely no way someone like this would kill the ringmaster. Your Honor, I'd like you to hear Aqua's story. Learn about his relationship with the ringmaster and his life up until now. What do we do? There's no doubting that Acro deeply respected the ringmaster. Acro's motive. It seems that this case isn't over just yet. Very well. However, I feel this is a good place to take a break. I'm so glad he said that. I will listen to the rest of Mr. Dingley. I'm sorry, his name makes me laugh. I will listen to the rest of Mr. Dingling's testimony after recess. Maybe that'll be my new file name when I play another Zelda randomizer. What's up, Dingling? This court will take a 10-minute recess. Sweet. To be continued. Perfect timing. Because this is going to be the end of this episode. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying it. And I will see you in the next episode when we will potentially maybe finish up this case. We're getting very, very close to the end. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. And I will see you next time. Bye!